Jacob Burton here from StellaCulinary.com, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make a great summer condiment, which is pickled watermelon rind. Now, in a previous video, we generated some watermelon scraps when I showed you how to peel and dice a watermelon, and so this is our leftover rind. So we're going to start by cleaning this up. You're going to remove most of that red portion of the watermelon that's stuck to the rind. And you want to be careful. There really is no getting around the fact that you're going to have to cut towards your hand. So using a razor sharp knife is really, really important here. Now, once you've removed most of that red, you're going to detach the green rind from the actual outer skin. And you're going to go back. If there's any left over, you're going to take this off. Now, admittedly, my knife could be a lot sharper here, and it's dangerous to have a knife that isn't super sharp. But you see, as I'm very carefully cutting towards my hand, I'm going to then switch right about here and then pull my knife all the way through. So that way I'm not risking cutting myself. Now, once you have all of the rind removed from the outer skin, you want to go back and julienne into thin strips. And here you can tell that I'm cutting this on a slight bias. And now you're going to pack into mason jars. Here I'm using a 12-ounce canning mason jar that has been cleaned. I didn't boil it, but I did put it through my dishwasher. And this is about the rind of one watermelon. So for one whole watermelon, you're going to need about 3 jars. Now we're going to make a couple different pickling liquids, and the basics behind a quick pickle like this, where you're basically going to place it in your fridge and let it pickle, is you want to use a 1-to-1 ratio of vinegar to water, and then you can add any other ingredients that you want for flavor, and you can substitute some of that water for your flavoring as well. You can use wine, you can use juice, and we'll go over that in a second. So here's our basic pickling liquid of 1 part or 2 cups of rice vinegar and 2 cups of water, or 1 part water. Going to add a little bit of salt to just to taste, a little bit of sugar, again, just to taste. That way, I'm adding enough sugar to where the vinegar isn't super strong and overpowering. Dip in a little spoon, give it a little sippy sip, make sure that you're balanced, your flavors are balanced correctly. There it was a little too acidic for me, so I'm going to add a little more sugar to kind of sweeten it up, and then some fresh cracked black pepper, and a little bit of cayenne if you like it hot. And you just go ahead and place that right in, and then whisk everything around. And that's it. That's your pickling liquid. Now, you do not want to bring this to a boil because pickling liquid or the vinegar actually has a lower boiling point than water, so that acid is going to boil off before the water boils. Fill the jar all the way up to the top, and then place on your lid. Hand tighten that ring down on the top, and that's pretty much it. Now, for another version, here we're using watermelon juice instead of water. So our 1 part water is actually going to be watermelon juice. Our 1 part vinegar is going to be sherry vinegar, aged sherry. Now this can be champagne vinegar, red wine vinegar, whatever you like. And I'm going to pour that into a mixing bowl. Instead of using sugar, I'm going to use honey to sweeten, to counterbalance that bite from the acidic or the acidity of the vinegar. And then basil and watermelon are a match made in heaven. So I'm going to pack the top of that jar with some fresh basil leaves. And I'm going to pour this mixture of watermelon juice and sherry vinegar over the top. And again, I'm using a 1-to-1 mixture or ratio of vinegar to water or water-based substance like juice. Hand tighten, place in the fridge, good to go. Now the final one, I'm going to do a little bit of an Asian flair on it. And so I'm going to place everything in a mixing bowl. Sprinkle in some sliced green onions, a mixture of white and black sesame seeds. And I'm doing all this to taste. A little bit of togarashi for some heat. The togarashi is a Japanese 7-spice. You can substitute any sort of cayenne or spices that you like. I'm going to toss around just like a salad. And I'm doing this by sight. I'm not using a bunch of direct measurements. So if you look at it and you're like, I kind of want some more sesame seeds in there, then add some more sesame seeds. If you want more green onions, add more green onions. If you want more togarashi, add more togarashi. Now mix it around, and once you have your mixture to where you like it, go ahead and place it in a jar. Now for the pickling liquid, my portion is going to be made up of about a 1/4 cup of sake, 1/4 cup of mirin, which is a sweetened sake, and then the rest water. So I'm going to have 2 cups altogether. Then on top of that, I'm going to place another 2 cups of rice vinegar. Pour everything back into the same mixing bowl that I used to pick up any residual sesame seeds that are left behind. Hit it with a little bit of sugar for sweetness. And again, you can use honey, you can use palm sugar, whatever you like. A little bit of freshly squeezed lime juice just for that extra kick of acidity. And I'm going to mix all this together. And again, just place it in the jar, covering completely the watermelon rinds, capping it with a lid. And you want to let these refrigerate overnight. They're usually best at about 24 hours to 48 hours, and then they'll last easily for a couple of weeks to a month without deteriorating. Now for some quick serving ideas, you basically want to use pickled watermelon rind as a condiment. So for that spicy Asian version that I demonstrated, that goes great with barbecue ribs, especially if you're going like a Korean-style barbecue rib. You can also use it on hot dogs, add to a coleslaw, serve alongside roasted meats like chicken, pork, and duck, and basically any dish that calls for a crunchy, sweet, and sour component. For more information, check out this episode's show notes at stellaculinary.com/KP27.